Late stage capitalism is coming to destroy everything we've ever loved. Yeah, if you don't know, FIFA is trying to sell the beautiful game. And it breaks my heart. This whole story breaks my heart. But I'm here to talk about everything that's been going on over the last couple days, and it's been moving fast with FIFA's plan to legitimately sell the World Cup, sell the beautiful game, led obviously by Gianni Infantino. And yeah, this video is going to be maybe a little bit of a deviation from what we normally do here. If you're new here, I will just up front ask you to please subscribe, like this video. If you like it, leave a comment, maybe most importantly, because I want to know what everybody thinks about this plan. Also become a member here at Always Bayern Chelsea. You can become a member now. There's a lot of good perks involved in that. Jim and I did a big announcement video talking about that. So yes, I'm sharing this article here from ESPN. The plan that Gianni Infantino and FIFA had to sell the World Cup and all of the like FIFA broadcasting and FIFA events, pretty much everything that, as you know, you and I as fans would view FIFA as the World Cup, men's and women's, etc. Selling a stake of that off into private equity. The plan as of right now is scrapped. So I'm just going to say that right up front because of a lot of the backlash that FIFA and Gianni got. But let me start from the beginning because, again, the story is moving fast. A lot of stuff has happened in the past couple days. You can look up information about it if you want on your own. All right, so basically we'll start off describing what this proposal was, and honestly, a reason why there was so much pushback at a confederation level was because Gianni kind of backroomed this deal without, if you believe a lot of these associations, without even talking to, UEFA, CONCACAF, the Asian Federation, the African Federation. So all these federations that make up the different continents of countries, of governing bodies, of international football. A lot of these, organizations are corrupt. Obviously, FIFA has been known to be corrupt for years and years. There's so much that has come to public knowledge and so much that probably hasn't come to public knowledge about FIFA bribing countries, FIFA bribing governments, FIFA bribing individuals, the people that work for FIFA, etc. And a lot of these, UEFA, CONCACAF, whatever, a lot of these organizations have participated in this kind of thing as well. So I'm not just clearing their names because, in my opinion, I think UEFA is in the right here. But the point that I'm trying to get to is Gianni was trying to backroom this deal without even letting these associations know. And I think that's where he failed, I guess, from like a shady business perspective, because there's a chance that a lot of these countries and organizations could have been bribed as they have been in the past and could have gone along with this if he didn't try to like shoehorn this in and like backroom this in without letting them know ahead of time. But that being said, I think that overall this plan to sell the World Cup and sell, a stake of FIFA basically to private equity, private investors, I think that is a bridge too far, even for a lot of these organizations that are known to be corrupt, that are known to accept bribes. But yeah, so Gianni Infantino, high off of the World Cup, which was very successful in terms of revenue, which was very successful in terms of viewership. In my opinion, despite what Gianni and FIFA and, for example, the US government was doing in terms of, jacking up the ticket prices, not letting certain individuals and teams, from certain nations into the United States, all the stuff that was wrong with the FIFA World Cup, which some of it we've highlighted here at Always Bayern Chelsea. The tournament was a success, a massive success, because of all of the fans, all of the players, everybody from these different countries coming together to celebrate the beautiful game. That's why it was a success, Gianni, not because of the jacked up ticket prices and all the money that you made, but Gianni Infantino riding the high of the success that was the World Cup. He has a God complex. I don't think anybody would, refute that from Gianni, traveling and requesting the same security detail that the Pope gets. Like, the guy thinks he's invincible. He thinks he's God. And, he thought he could create this secret project, which, it came out thanks to some awesome reporting, which FIFA called erroneous, which I thought was hilarious. But the gist of this is that FIFA is a nonprofit organization. I know it's kind of a joke because they, again, still bribe people. Like, nobody knows where a lot of their money goes when they say they're investing it, air quotes, into a lot of smaller countries. Nobody knows where this money goes. So it's not even like proven that they are actually investing where they say they are. So FIFA, being a nonprofit organization, it does, or at least it's supposed to, act in certain ways. Whether it actually does, is up for debate. And that's why it's even more laughable that this project that Gianni was trying to shoehorn in here was supposed to basically make a subsidiary that would, branch off and be controlled essentially by Gianni. And this subsidiary would be, for profit and able to act, I guess, in ways that for-profit companies can act. Essentially, projected to be $20 billion, 20% owned by private investors. And yes, here's where it gets political. So, say whatever you want. I've seen a lot of people out there trying to pretend like, oh, Trump doesn't have anything to do with this. That's bullshit. Like, I don't know if you're playing dumb. I don't know if you just actually haven't read a single thing about this proposal. But yes, Donald Trump has a lot to do with this, because the core investor, as stated here by ESPN, would be a New York investment firm. And not even just the core investor. This investment firm, it would be the ones controlling like what private investors get into this, etc. And just how it's run, how these private investors operate. This would be run by the New York investment firm created by Joshua Kushner, who is, the brother of Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who, had a role in Trump's first administration, formally, now has most likely an informal role in this second administration. And so, this investment firm is run by the Kushner family. Obviously, this is why Gianni has been so cozy with Donald Trump for, years now at this point. Outside of everything that's happening with the World Cup, extremely corrupt individuals, extremely corrupt organizations. And Gianni, I think he maybe thought he had a little bit of that Teflon that Trump obviously has here in America for whatever reason. And he wanted to make this, investment company and sell off a 20% stake, essentially. In the way that he's spinning this is, oh, we're going to make more money and we're going to invest it into these small countries. And that is how FIFA works. Like, they bribe these small countries because, if you don't know, I guess I'll take another step back. And I know I'm kind of talking about this in a roundabout way, so I apologize. But the way that FIFA works, the way that like people are elected, the way that Gianni is the head of FIFA, and all their elections, all their, votes, each country that is a part of FIFA gets one vote. So Curacao gets the same amount of power as France, you know what I mean? And so the way that FIFA works is that Gianni and whoever is in charge of FIFA is able to just bribe these small countries basically with money for their votes. That's why it's almost impossible to, knock him out of power, despite all this like blatant and obvious corruption. So, the way that he spins this is, okay, it's more money to invest in these countries. I've already talked about this in this video, but you don't actually see the money really going into these countries. Like, the paper trail is very hard to follow if you actually look into it. I won't be doing that here. This is, again, me trying to give a high level view and talk about my thoughts about this. Again, obvious corruption, but that's the way he's spinning it. And in reality, if you aren't a bad faith actor, if you haven't been living under a rock, you and I both know, everybody knows, that when somebody is an investor in something, they're not just, oh, hands off. I'm not just giving you money to be generous, to build pitches in Cabo Verde. That's not what this is. This is an attempt to sell off the game. And when somebody, lays down their money and is an investor, especially this kind of money in the world's biggest sporting event, they're going to expect something back. And so that's why this is so corrupt. That's why this is such a horrible deal for everybody involved, for the game, and I'll also say FIFA, they don't have to do anything, and they're going to be making money hand over fist. Like, this is the world's game. Look at how much money they made at this World Cup. This is, again, take this how you will, but I think from a business perspective, this isn't even smart, because you're selling off 20%, which is a huge stake in the World Cup in FIFA. You're selling it off for what would essentially be a short-term influx of cash. Obviously, Gianni and all of his cronies and the Kushner family and Trump, they would all be paid off. They would all make exorbitant amounts of cash for no reason. And FIFA, the game, everything, all these countries, they would suffer long term. Again, FIFA can be totally hands off. They can do absolutely nothing, and they can make money hand over fist. It's like all these rich assholes. It's just insane amounts of greed that a normal human being could not comprehend. A human being that isn't pure and utterly evil could not comprehend this level of greed. So that was the plan. And again, maybe because it was backroomed and nobody was aware of this, if it wasn't for that, he might have been able to get away with it. But nevertheless, UEFA came out with a statement. UEFA is all of the European nations. It's obviously the big ones: France, Spain, England, Italy, although Italy hasn't made the World Cup in a little bit, Germany, you know what I mean? But it's also the small nations. It's Bosnia, etc. I don't need to go through all of them. So they basically said, we're out. They basically said, we're completely out. None of our nations will be participating in the World Cup if this goes through. And again, me talking again, that means the World Cup is over. The World Cup without UEFA is not a World Cup, essentially. You just have to look at this most recent World Cup. What was it? 6 out of the 8 quarterfinalists, I believe, were from Europe. You had Morocco, which is Africa, and Argentina, which is South America. So yeah, I believe it was 6 out of the last 8 quarterfinalists were from Europe. So you don't have a World Cup without UEFA. CONCACAF, which is, North America, Central America, they basically said that we don't like this plan either. I don't think they officially said we're boycotting it like UEFA did, but they were going to review it and probably going to boycott it. Africa came out with a statement. Asia came out with a statement. I'm not sure if South America came out with an official statement or not, but a lot of these confederations came out with statements basically saying, we're going to review this, but we are not in support of this. It doesn't look good, etc. Depending on, again, how in bed with FIFA some of these organizations are, depended on how, harsh and how damning the actual statements that they made were. But regardless, a lot of countries were going to review it, and UEFA officially boycotted it and just basically said, football is not for sale. This game is not for sale. So all that went down within the past couple days, and Gianni FIFA officially backed out and decided to scrap the plan. We don't know at this point what's going to happen. I'm sure if I know Gianni, if I know FIFA, they will try to sell off part of the beautiful game as soon as they possibly can. And just line their own pockets. That's, again, what all these rich, greedy crooks do. And they don't care about the fans, as we saw about the ticket prices in this last World Cup. They don't care about the game, the sanctity of the game, the beauty of it. They don't care about any of this stuff. They just care about lining their own pockets for some sick, egomaniacal reasons. And yeah, it's yet to be seen, but what's going to happen. But this has created so much backlash that it's almost uncertain now if Gianni's even going to be able to keep his job. We'll try to keep you posted here at Always Bayern Chelsea about everything everything going forward. I feel like I've already talked a lot and rambled a lot and overall got the points that I wanted to say across. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Appreciate everybody for watching this video. I would love, love, love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. So subscribe to Always Bayern Chelsea for more. We're rolling into preseason now. Hopefully the next videos will be lighter than this topic. And we'll get back to more Bayern Chelsea stuff. I'm going to be live streaming Aston Villa versus Bayern. I'm going to be live streaming RB Leipzig versus Bayern, these preseason friendlies. So stay tuned for that. Become an Always Bayern Chelsea member. Lots and lots of perks there, including the Always Bayern Chelsea group chat. So people who are members know a lot of my thoughts about this already because we were talking about it in that group chat. But yeah, shout out to all the members. I'm going to play the outro, which will show you all of our members. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to My Name is Carl and Megan. Those are the two newest members. And so, yeah, with that, I'm going to get out of here. Mia san mia.